Huh? Huh? Yeah.
Hello, hello, our friends and family. Welcome to another adventure on Vintage Explorer. I want you to welcome my sidekick and master of technology, Miss Apostate Ashley. Hey. I don't know what I'd do without her. I'll tell you when I can tell her, I feel so good that I can tell her, use your talents and just go for it, because she's been doing some great things for us, and I appreciate it.
Thanks.
I hope everybody was okay with the gymnastics today to get from TANG to Oz's private channel. Our next show, we should be back on TANG. Just a little glitch, and that's okay. Hey, we have workarounds. I'm excited for today's show, and I think y'all will really enjoy getting to know our buddy Steve. Our buddy MurderShed Steve, rather. Got to give him his proper title that's due. First thing I want to do today is a little bit of advertising. And I told you last time I won a trivia that GD show. It's Genevieve and Dave's show. Now, those of all have their mind in the right place. No, it's the Genevieve and Dave show. Our friend Dave Warnock. It pays to read his book, because if you can answer the trivia, you'll get a mug. So I enjoyed my coffee many mornings with this. And if any of you have merchandise out there that includes a mug or a hat, I don't wear t-shirts, but if you've got mugs or hats, let us know, and we will certainly advertise for you, if I can use that word. I don't know. Is that allowed, or we're going to get dinged?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I actually have one of Dave's shirts. I
you?
Guess I didn't even think about it. I should have worn it.
Well, hey, sometime you can do that. I know Tang has some merch. I probably better get on the stick, since this is,
me too.
This is family involved thing. I should get a Tang. I think I'd like a hat. So before we get started with Steve, I have a rant, short rant. I'll keep it short. And the reason I'm ranting is I overheard someone in passing talk about atheists that are devil worshipers, and I just bristled. And so I thought, for the benefit of anybody out there who is not in the community of atheists, that I wanted to properly define what that word means and mention a few things that we are not. According to Webster's dictionary, an atheist is a person who does not believe in the existence of a God or any gods or anything supernatural, period. End of quote. That's it. That's an option. You can make that decision to not believe. And that's perfectly all right. And many people have been born as what we call cradle atheists, meaning that they grew up in a household that did not have any kind of religion. And then others who were on the journey of life and involved in religion of some kind. And then due to many truths and realities that came before them, they made a decision to leave it all behind them. And so that's what I wanted to explain. Atheists are not heathens. We're not devil worshipers, because atheists don't believe in any supernatural. Atheist, you can't say an atheist is immediately an immoral person, unkind, any of that. That's why this series is called Atheists Are Real People Too. That's what I'm hoping that people will see, is that we just are everyday people who've made the decision that we no longer believe or never have believed in the supernatural. One more thing before I get into Steve is that you may think that we're having an earthquake here because my head is tremoring, or the background looks like it's tremoring. It is my head. I have a head tremor, and it's not been under control quite like it normally is, and I can't stop it. So
it has to be so annoying.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes it really gets a rocking, but we've made some adjustments in my medicine, and hopefully by the next time it won't be so bad, but it drives me crazy. So if you see it, it's me. It's not that the earth is shaking behind me, and I wish it was that and I could be still. Anyway, Ashley, atheists are real people too. Do you believe that?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I actually kind of feel like I'm the same person I was before. I just have different viewpoints on a God. That's it.
Exactly. I've had one friendship that has carried on since I made my decision about a year ago, and nothing's changed as far as I'm concerned. We just don't have any conversations that are around religion, but we never really did before anyway. So, nothing's changed. And a couple family members who know that I've made the change, again, they're okay. It's okay. I wish it was for everybody, but anyway, to be fair, a lot of atheists do join the Satanic Temple because it pushes back against religion. And I understand that, but to just automatically link an atheist as being a Satanist is not true. Thank you for that input, R, however you say your name. I don't want to misspeak. But yes, atheists are real people too. And without further ado, I want to introduce to you, this is pre-recorded because of Steve's work schedule. We had to do the pre-recording. And he's a delight. We had so much fun, not just doing the show and recording it, but afterwards we had our own show time, didn't we, Ashley?
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he is.
Let me introduce you to MurderShed Steve.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today on Vintage Explorer. I'm so excited that we get to have a friend of the network on with us, and that is Vintage Explorer's buddy, MurderShed Steve, who's close to holding a record for holding his eyes open. Well, I'm really glad that you agreed to join me today on the show. I have decided that it's important for our community to know the people that are a part of the TANG network. And Steve, you've been around since almost the beginning of TART. Am I correct?
Since the beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
The first few episodes, I kind of stayed behind stage, and I was trying to produce, trying to.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Trying to part.
Yes, and then Pasta came in and started producing, and they we kind of figured out a role for me doing the Q&A during most of basically the first year and a half. I was a regular on the show, and then obviously when COVID hit hard, and I just didn't feel able to do anything for a long time.
Sure.
So kind of fell out of it.
Sure. Well, tell us how you got the nickname of MurderShed Steve.
Well, I was born, and my mother said, "Wow, this sounds like a great name for my child, MurderShed Steve."
On the birth certificate.
That's right. It's official. It's official. Yeah.
Yes, right. I need to have a talk with your mother.
I don't know. I mean, somebody who names their kid MurderShed Steve, are you sure you want to challenge that?
I will have my axe behind me.
Okay. Yeah, protect yourself.
Yes. Well, that I know that was something that Pasta was involved in, I believe. Getting you set up as murder. Oh, is this supposed to be a secret? Okay. Well, we're not here to reveal MurderShed's history. We're here to reveal Steve's history.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right. The purpose of this show is to get to know Steve, the man.
The man behind the axe.
Hobbyist. Yes. And I really want to know, what do you do when you're not out murdering? Who are you, Steve?
A lot of cleaning, showers.
Cleaning showers.
Well,
Okay.
just cleaning and taking showers, things like that when I'm done murdering. But besides that,
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
you gotta
I'm glad you do that.
yeah, you got to
Got to get my mind in the right place. Okay.
Yes, that's right. A polite society doesn't typically, just let you walk by with blood all over your face. So
No.
after being all cleaned up, though, I work a lot. I do HVAC, service
okay.
repairs. Yep. So a lot of hours doing that, especially when it's hot or cold. Repairing furnaces and air conditioners, doing maintenance, making sure that they're working right, things like that. Mostly residential. And then in free time, I like playing video games quite a bit.
Okay.
Going out with the family, we'll do bike rides in the neighborhood. Trying to keep up on some kind of health, just keep in some kind of shape.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And we'll go shoot pool, or go get a dinner at the bar or something like that down the street, things like that. Pretty typical stuff, I guess. Pretty boring.
Typical stuff.
Yeah.
Are you musically inclined at all?
Yes. So I'm a singer. I grew up in a really musical family. Grew up on. So you know how you grow up and you think that something's totally normal, like I don't know, a belief system or whatever, and you think every household is like that. For me, I thought that everybody listened to musicals. I thought that I thought that you could go to anybody's household and they would be playing like some Sunday in the Park with George. It would just be a normal thing, or they say that. Have you ever heard of seen movies, things like that, where the family members all are just singing the same thing together, and it's super weird and almost culty and kind of weird. We did that. So I could burst into I could burst into the house and just be like, "No, as the sweet and facility stumbles so lavishly onto her lap." And my mom would go, "Oh, Frederick," like just like that. We just kind of bust into song like of some of those old musicals and stuff that we all grew up on. So and
that sounds like a fun family.
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
Oh, okay.
I mean, it did produce a MurderShed Steve, so you never know.
This is true.
That's right. But no, my parents were both involved in musicals. They would go play shows and do, you know, they were all part of theaters and stuff, and that's kind of how they met.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, cool.
So music is very heavily tied to what we do. So of course, when I got older, you know, I was in a couple of choirs while I was in high school, and then I was in a choir after high school, and then I was in a metal band for a while that did okay.
What was the name?
Well, I probably don't want to bust that up too much because I could potentially dox myself with that one. People could find me if they knew, you know, those details.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Yep. And you never know.
MurderShed.
That's right. We gotta stay close and protected. And then shortly after, so I was a singer in a metal band for a few years. Played shows, did a little bit of touring, and then that band broke up, and I wound up doing hip hop for a while too, for a few years. So, and that was fun. Both of them were fun. Playing shows, you know, meeting people, really performing. It's kind of a fun thing to do, you know. Make a little bit of money.
Have you done
a little bit?
A little bit,
yeah.
Have you ever done like little theater stuff in your community?
Not as an adult, but I did in high school. I did theater in high school, briefly, just a couple of shows. Had a solo on the first show. So hey,
yay!
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I might have to get your autograph next year. A better 2023.
You know what? Get in line.
Oh yeah, well, I'm number one.
Yeah. No, yeah. I don't know what I would sign that would be of any value, but it would be. I'm more than happy to sign stuff. No big deal. Maybe checks.
Did you tour? Oh, sign checks?
Yeah,
okay.
Checks are worth something,
you'd
right?
Rather, you'd rather receive checks, wouldn't you?
That is true. Touring, we didn't do a whole lot. I mean, you know, we'd go to Wisconsin or go to Iowa, things like that. Just kind of nearby where we were. So.
Okay. Oh, no national touring for you.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't even know if I would.
Not really.
I was talking to a kid the other day about potentially joining a band. I'm still waiting to hear from him, but I don't think I could ever really hit it as hard as I did. When you're trying to make it in an industry, you don't sleep. I didn't eat very much.
No.
You know, it was all go. And
it's tough life.
Yeah. And I had a full-time job. So I would go do my day job, and then I would go to the rehearsal space every day. And then after that, go home, take a shower, eat something if I could. So sometimes I'd go 2 or 3 days without eating. And then go out to the bars and promote. So go out to the bars, promote until about 2 o'clock in the morning. And then you come home, and then I'd go on the internet and promote until about 4 in the morning.
Wow.
And then get a couple hours of sleep and then go back to work the next day. I did that for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
How did you survive?
I got shingles.
Just physically?
I got shingles. Yeah. At the age of 25, I got shingles. Or 22 or 23, which is not supposed to happen. But
no.
You just kind of run yourself down to the point where you're running on nothing, you know? So, yeah. So that's something that's the parts of it that I don't miss. That
I'm sure.
that I don't want to get too serious and do another thing and try and make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and knowing now that you're not the same age.
Yeah.
It makes a difference on how quickly you kind of, lose that energy level.
Yeah.
Keep up.
It's very true.
Keep up with I mean, I'm not trying to say that you're old or anything, but you're not 23 anymore.
Yeah, 35-year-old MurderShed can't keep up with 25-year-old MurderShed. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's no way.
So true.
Although I do all right.
Even the
I still stay up pretty late on the weekends, like 2 o'clock, something like that.
well, I can't do that.
I'm gonna do it while I can.
I miss out on so much. Yeah, really do it
Yeah.
because I love some of this stuff on YouTube, but I'll tell you, if it's after 10 o'clock at night, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And to be part of a live group or to go on Discord afterwards, I'm just, a blubbering mess. Just my brain just doesn't. The brain fog that we had earlier backstage.
Yes.
That's my brain after 10 o'clock. So
Yes.
it does make a difference. Being around all of you younger ones keeps me young in spirit, but the body does not agree anymore.
No.
So do you have,
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say, do you remember those old commercials? This is your brain, and it's an egg, and then this is your brain on drugs, and it's frying. They're like frying the egg.
Yeah.
That's like This is Kathy's brain. This is Kathy's brain after 10.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you play an instrument, musical instrument?
I dabble. I have like 5 guitars, but I don't know how to play any of them. I've got a bass. I have a few friends that I jam with from time to time, and we'll just kind of swap instruments around. And everybody knows that, sometimes you'll have a better drummer playing drums, and sometimes you'll have Steve. So, so it's fun. It's all about just having fun and enjoying the company and a little party and playing some music. And they're all really talented, so they can put up with my lack of talent and work around it. And but
I can compensate for you.
that's right. So I play some instruments, guitar, bass. When I was a kid, when I was in middle school and all that, I played the flute, which garnered several beatings. But I got to sit next to the girls that also played the flute, so that wasn't an awful deal.
That's what was behind that. You thought that
there was some motivation there, maybe at the age of 12, 13, 14.
Yeah. Oh yes. Those hormones are starting to kick in.
They sure were.
Uh-huh.
And then of course I didn't know how to handle it, but
oh well, what 13-year-old does? Really.
and I was just about last chair, so it goes to show how good I was at the flute. Actually, there was actually even more motivation on the aspect of having already played the recorder and knowing how to play the recorder a little bit and not having to transpose. So when you play the flute, you don't have to transpose, and the fingering is very similar to playing a recorder. So I thought that it would be an easy transition for me. I just had to learn how to, blow into a bottle. So that was my other motivation. I don't think I've ever shared that before, but that was my other motivation for picking up the flute.
Oh, okay.
Despite the beatings.
Oh.
So.
I love the flute. That was a secret desire of mine, was to play the flute.
Oh, interesting.
Never did, but I did well with the song flute, but my family moved so much that I couldn't lock into lessons or anything.
Sure.
So I kind of missed out on that. But let's see. What's something else we could learn about you? Have you always lived in the same area?
Yes. Yep.
Cool.
Pretty much.
Grew up pretty much in the same house all the time? Or
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of moving around. I grew up kind of in the suburbs in Minnesota, suburbs of Minneapolis, and
okay.
Stayed in the same place for 27 years, actually.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised because you don't have a strong Minnesotan accent.
Well, it's just like anywhere else.
And-
When you're in the city or near the city, you know, the accent isn't as thick. But if you get out in the country a little bit more, oh yeah, there, bud, you'll get those Olies and Lenas all day long. Oh heck yeah, there, bud. Everybody starts sounding a little more Canadian. So
You did that
yeah,
well.
well, you know, it's not my first time hearing it. So yeah, the whole
Oh.
Fargo thing is it doesn't really represent, you know, how things are in the city. Just like you get your, you know, Louisiana and Alabama accents and stuff like that you really see more in the countryside than you do, you know, with a lot of the people in the city
Mhm,
as thick, you know.
mhm.
But you know, you still say boat a little bit weird, you know, even if you live in the city.
Boat.
Boat.
Say fire. for me.
Fire.
Fire. See, so my dad's family was from Tennessee, and it's far.
Yeah. See, that would,
It's far.
like, how
know?
far? Where?
Until I got to school. Yeah, really. Until I got to school, and the teacher said, "It's fire, Kathy. Fire, not far." It's interesting how different parts of the country you get those different words. What are sounds from words? What's something that you feel like is unique from where you're from that's so different from?
Well, there is the duck duck goose debate. Duck duck grey duck.
Which
Duck
is
duck grey duck versus duck duck goose. So in Minnesota, we all grew up
Okay.
with duck duck grey duck. If you're familiar with the
Oh.
game where you go around in the circle,
oh, that's
yeah,
right.
you say duck duck
yeah.
duck duck, and when it's the odd duck, it's the grey duck. But it's my understanding that everywhere else they say goose.
Yeah, we always say
Yeah.
goose. We're not that far from you,
No.
but somewhere in translation from Minnesota to Indiana, it changed.
Yeah, and I guess it's goose everywhere. Minnesota grey duck is the Minnesota thing.
Oh, okay.
And
well, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
and
See?
it's true. We put ranch dressing on everything.
Well, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Ranch on pizza and French
I haven't
fries.
found anything. Oh, French fries.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. And baked potato. Have you tried that?
Put ranch on a baked potato. I have put ranch
Mhm.
in mashed potatoes, like cooked it that way. Yeah,
Ooh.
put ranch dressing
Mhm.
and stir it in there with your mashed potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
and then, I guess I could take it or leave it. but they
Yeah.
do make
Well-
packets like what is it, old farm, I don't know, somebody makes like these powder packets that you can put in it's ranch powder packets you can put in your
Yeah, I've seen that at the grocery. I think I've even used that before. Yeah. So, speaking of food items, do you have a flair in the kitchen?
I attempt to cook.
Uh-huh.
You know, sometimes you
What's your best thing?
toes.
Toes. Okay. Well, MurderShed Steve, I understand that. What about non-human things to prepare in the kitchen?
Non-cannibalistic cuisine. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
yes.
I was gonna say I like to skewer. No. Anyway.
Yeah.
I
Skewer toes.
Mhm.
With pineapple.
sometimes, yeah, if you're feeling a little spicy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the no, I typically I do the best with like Italian dishes. So like you know your fettuccine Alfredo, spaghetti, things like that. I also do a lot of like or like noodles with olive oil and chicken and you know things like that. I have a new thing that I've been doing though. I especially you know if you have kids and stuff, it's harder to get them to eat the vegetables all that stuff. What I do now,
Sure.
I'll take and make something like Alfredo, and I'll take a bunch of vegetables and I just blend them. I blend them up into a cream, and I just mix it in. I just mix it in with the cream. Then you get like your full dose, you know, and you don't have anybody picking around. If you want to eat your noodles, you're eating those vegetables too, and you don't taste them. It just totally masks it.
Clever.
Yeah. And then you can also avoid, overcooking them. Because you know how it is. Once you start cooking vegetables, then you're cooking out all the nutrients and all that. So if you blend it up and just gently heat them while you're putting them into the sauce, you're not taking away from the nutritional value as much. So
you're a clever guy in the kitchen.
Well, you gotta be clever in my line of work. Yeah. I mean, unless you want to get caught.
Yes, true.
So
yeah.
So and what I've started playing around with lately is just literally making sauce out of vegetables. So I got one of those little magic bullet things, and I'll put a California blend in there with some water and some olive oil, and you just blend it all up, and then you put a bunch of your herbs and spices in there to give it the flavor you want. And I made kind of like a olive oil sauce out of it last time that actually tasted pretty good. It worked out pretty well on some noodles and with all the herbs and stuff like that. So you could even just get rid of the tomato sauce altogether, because I know that can irritate people. And obviously with Alfredo, the problem is it's got a lot of fat in it. It's basically cheese,
Right.
So you can kind of avoid all those things that you don't want in there as much if you do it that way. And
that's
so that I don't really play around with the oven too much. I'll grill and I'll cook. I'm not a baker. No. I don't do anything in the oven.
That's all right. If you're good to cook a meal, somebody else can do the baking.
And it's funny because my wife is very good at baking, but I wouldn't necessarily encourage her to cook
what she makes
as much.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say you wouldn't.
Oh, no. What she bakes is really good. She's a very good baker. Yeah, she makes really good cookies and cakes and all kinds of stuff. I think she has played around a few times with the idea of starting her own shop and things like that. So her own bakery.
Nice. Well, when I met her, she was a very sweet girl.
Yes. Very good at trickery as well. Just like me. Yeah. I come up with things until you get the MurderShed.
Yes.
Where answers get questioned. But no, and I enjoy cooking. I try not to overdo it. I try not to, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll cook a big meal, and then we can freeze it and ride on that for a while. And then just kind of stagger it that way. I just started cooking my lunches just to get more healthy foods in me and save some money. So
good idea.
I've been kind of getting over the idea of always eating something hot, and I'm just bringing food now. And usually it is like last week I cooked up all that kind of vegetable sauce or whatever I was telling you. That's what I was eating for lunches every day, so I just feel better about that.
Oh, good.
But
when it's much better for you, especially than running through a fast food.
It's one of those, in your 20s, you don't give a shit about any of that stuff. And then you get, or you don't give a poop, sorry. You don't, all right.
No, you're okay. You're okay. You're just not any really hard words. That's what I'm trying to say.
Fair enough. So, but you start getting older and it's like, oh, dang, maybe I should start thinking about the future a little bit more. Like, how long do I want to live? How much of that life do I want to be the best quality as possible? What habits do I have that might take away from that quality of life? And you just start thinking a little differently when the Reaper starts knocking on the door.
It's like, gosh, I have to be personally responsible.
Yes.
For me.
God forbid. Oh no. And especially when you are responsible for other people, as on top of it, it kind of makes you feel like you have the responsibility to treat yourself better so that you can be there for them for longer, right? Like, I've got that. I've got a stepson, and I certainly would not want to see him go through the trauma of me dying while he's young and have it affect him
Right.
Later on in life or for the
Sure.
rest of his life, if I can avoid it. Right.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to make some better
Right.
decisions.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And that is something you think about after maybe start hitting 35. You really start thinking more.
That's exactly
Yeah.
where I am.
And
Yeah, I'm 35.
oh, are you? Okay. Well,
Yep.
are you? Okay. Yeah, that's that. It's sort of a midline of
It's like, well,
can't go
do
back.
I want to go another 20 or
Can't
another
go
40?
back.
You know, like,
Yeah, and really it's up to you
Yeah.
as much as possible.
I mean, barring, you know, obviously part of what set this in motion
Yeah.
too was getting COVID and having that long recovery and having effects, just feeling the effects of
Mhm.
everything and
Mhm.
how different the body is after something like that. It's like, ugh, you're not bulletproof, you know?
Right. Absolutely. My one of my daughters has really gone through a hard time after COVID, and she works in the medical field and was fully vaccinated and all the good stuff. And you know, man, when it hit her, the after effects have been really rough.
That's hard.
Still 6 months later. So yeah, this virus is rough on us. So what kind of tips would you give to the 23 or 25-year-old Steve for life tips today?
I think if I were to, there'd be two things. One would be to get established in the career that I have now earlier. Don't wait on it. And to do that while still pursuing, you know, the music thing, because I got no regrets there. I'm glad that I did that the way that I did it and as hard as I did. Otherwise, you know, there's always the what if I had worked harder? I don't have that question in my mind at all. I know I definitely did everything I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it in my 20s, but I do to a certain extent wish that I had gotten established a little bit sooner in the career that I'm in. And or move out to LA, move out to New York. When you're pursuing music, don't stay in your little town. Don't do that. Go where the people are going to find you, because they're not looking for you. You got to seek them out. Yeah.
You got to go.
And I did not do that. I did pass that advice on to somebody else who did take that advice, and I'm not sure how well it worked out for him or not, but I know he tried it. He really tried it. And that's all you can do, right? Yep. So that would be, you know, if I went back to being, if I was like 19, 20 years old or something like that, I'd say just take the dive, go, you know. But the timing, you know, it was tough because that was right around when the recession hit and all that kind of stuff too. I was just kind of happy that I had a job. You know, it was kind of a crazy time.
True.
So there's a lot of back and forth with how that could have gone and why. And also I'm glad that I stayed because, you know, obviously my wife is from here and we actually met when she was 18 and I was 20. And we used to we had mutual friends that we would party with together and all that kind of stuff. And we stayed friends for 7, 8 years before we started dating. So kind of a weird, that's a whole nother weird story. But, yeah, so like we had seen each other in other relationships. Like I saw, you know, I was able to see how she was in her marriage. And she saw some of the relationships I was in. So we kind of both knew how we would be before we even started dating. It made things very easy. There weren't all those mysteries. You know what I mean?
Okay.
When you first start dating somebody, especially if you don't know them before you start dating them, it's like you don't know who that person is the first year at all. You have no idea. Unless if you're really lucky and they're just super honest people that don't get all swept up in all the hormones and stuff like that. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. You know, it's, you meet somebody
I know,
you think you
I know.
for the first
Yeah.
year or whatever, and then all of a sudden you start seeing these patterns of behavior and things like that are new, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? And I think the biggest trick is not to convince yourself that things will go back, because they never do. They never do.
They never do. Yeah. Well, I'm in a long distance relationship right now, and it's been totally different. And
of course.
Time.
Do you do video chatting like this and stuff like that?
We did, but he dropped his phone and the screen is So, and COVID really hit hard for the career that he was in, and so I said, hey, don't go buy a new phone. You know, you need to spend your money other places, because his business went out, and it hit him really, really hard. I said, look, let's just save money. If I can hear your voice and we can text, that's good for me for right now till we figure out. But it's very different.
It's exciting.
And, it is in a way, you know, for this old granny to have a little bit of fun this way, you know. So, but I agree with you. The building relationships before any kind of real commitment is so important. Building friendship, and that's what I feel like. I've got a best friend, and that's so important for a relationship, to have a good friendship. I think I didn't have that before in my other marriages.
And you know, I kind of have an interesting take on marriage. I think in general, kind of a more way traditional viewpoint on marriage. Like back when you would just sell your 13-year-old daughter to a 34-year-old guy to like expand, because that's where marriage comes from. That's, you know, that's the origins of it.
I know.
So
I know.
I you know, obviously a relationship is a relationship, right? But the institution of marriage is kind of a different thing. And what I look at marriage as, which of course I learned all this after I got married, but I look at it as more of like a business contract. The two of us, it just so happens that we have a good relationship on top of it, which is great. But and I wouldn't enter into a business relationship like this with somebody I didn't get along with, right? Because it's a very intimate business relationship, and you need to be able to get along with that person and work things out and communicate properly and all that kind of stuff. But what I look at it as is like, all right, we are now a partnership, and it is up to us to use that partnership to build each other up and to create a life that we both enjoy, and to create a comfortability level and help each other be more comfortable in life rather than a struggle, right? And doing the things that we need to do and fulfilling the obligations that we've given each other in order to make that happen. Rather than being like, oh, I'm in love, so I'm going to tie myself to this person for life. Because that's just not how love and relationships work, in my opinion, you know? And based on, you know, my understanding of how our brains work and how our bodies work, and, you know, everything, all the, you know, you can check all the studies and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, you know, a fully monogamous life isn't really what we're supposed to be doing. That said, my wife and I both agree to be in a monogamous relationship together because we've been socially programmed that way, and we just feel more comfortable doing it that way. But we're also not unrealistic that that could change, you know? And we'll have those discussions when we need to have those discussions. But for now, our little business contract's going really well.
Right. Well, but really, that's when you look at it. The goal to me, of course, having learned all of this hindsight, is, you know, in any relationship, even in a friendship, it's you do whatever you can to help that person be the best they can.
And if that is not reciprocated, then it's not a good relationship. And it's not worth your time. You need to find somebody who will give you back what you put in. Right? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Definitely not one-sided, because that is not a good idea. But yeah, I think if more folks looked at marriage or partnerships that way, it's not about what's in it for me. It's about what can I do for them, and they reciprocate in the same manner.
And how can we build and create together? Because I'll tell you that, you know, the house that we have, all the things that we have, and the comfortability of life that we have, neither one of us would have that without the other.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's great. You know, and that's true even if one of the partners stays home and the other one does the working. Mm-hmm. It's still, you wouldn't have it without both of you involved.
Even a stay-at-home partner, if you have one person working and then the other one stays home, if the other one stays home and takes care of more of the domestic things so that the person who's working doesn't have to, then that's a great partnership. And anybody who chooses to live that way, not only does it sound awesome, but I think that's great. I think that it would be great to be in the position to be able to make that choice. For sure.
Yes.
And have one person stay home if they choose to.
Right. Well, a lot of people now could stay home and do work part-time from home, and that gives them more opportunities. And either or partner,
and even full-time.
You know, whichever
my wife
partner
works full-time from home now.
Yeah, that's.
Yep.
Oh, does she?
I'm still trying to figure out a way to make HVAC work that way. We'll see.
How? I don't know, Steve. That's going to be pretty rough. Well, speaking of HVAC, though, I wanted to get back to that. How did you know, or when did you know that was a possibility of a career interest that you had?
So when I started out, I went to St. John's University for a semester. I got into university. I went there and I dropped out because it wasn't for me, especially at that time in my life. After I did that, I worked at a movie theater for about a year, making minimum wage, which was $6.25 an hour at the time. Yep. Oh. And it's not that much higher now, but it really isn't. So I was making $6.25 an hour, working full time at the movie theater, and somebody came to my parents' house to install a reverse osmosis system, which is like a water filtration system for the house. And while he was doing that, he was talking about how he's looking for, good young guys with strong backs, et cetera, et cetera. My mom was like, "Oh, my son's got a strong young back," So I kind of got hooked up that way with a water softener job. And I did that job for 7 years while I was pursuing music, right? So that was like my day job that I would go. It was kind of mindless. I was able to write lyrics while I did it. All I did was deliver salt all day. I just destroyed my back hauling salt bags. And to me, it was like, well, this is only temporary until my music career takes off and I become hugely famous and start a clothing line and then disappear off into the wilderness somewhere. I had this grandiose. I had it all.
You and I had it all planned out.
Man. Oh yeah. And I was the special one that was definitely going to happen. Yes. The one with all the talent, just dripping in talent and all that stuff. Anyway, so hey, we're all susceptible to delusional thinking, aren't we?
Sure.
That's right.
All of us.
But again, I'm glad that I approached it that way, and I'm glad that I went that route, though, because if I had not gone full bore with it, I would be full of regrets today, right? So,
Right.
but yeah, so I did that job for 7 years while I was pursuing music, and you know, kind of a menial, like, labor job, whatever, hauling salt bags. I knew, you know, how to do some basic plumbing, installing water softeners, things like that. And that the owners kind of changed hands, and I didn't really agree with the owner of that company, so I left and went and did something else, doing some deliveries and things like that, which was okay, but the hours were crazy, and it was a salary job, so it just wasn't working for me. It was like 5:30 a.m. to like 7 or 8 at night every day with no lunch breaks. You know, so I was like, yeah, I lost, I think 25 pounds doing that job. I weighed like 150 pounds, 145 pounds, which I'm basically 6 feet tall. So that is not a good weight. It wasn't healthy. Yeah. I was very underweight, just not eating, very stressed. So I had to get out of that job, and I did sales for a while. You know, I kind of tried out a few different things. I got ADHD like crazy. I can't sit at a desk all day. I cannot do it.
Yeah.
And I always enjoyed doing, like, I was in Boy Scouts when I was a kid and all that. And I really enjoyed, you know, chopping the wood and doing, you know, all the kind of laborious tasks around the campsite. It was always an enjoyable thing for me. And so I kind of was like, man, that water softener job, I did that for 7 years. And granted, part of what got me up in the morning was like, I just got to do this until my music career takes off. But it couldn't have just been that kept me coming back for 7 years. You know what I mean? A part of me secretly enjoyed it. You know, I liked the job. You know, so I wound up looking into different possible jobs that I could do. The reason why I landed on HVAC is because it's one of the most high demand jobs for people in building maintenance. And it's kind of, it's pretty all encompassing. We do some electricity, we do some plumbing, we do some of that labor, and then obviously like appliance repair, things like that. There's also tin work that you can get into. So it has all these different facets. And as somebody with ADHD, I'm apt to get bored quickly and easily if I'm not constantly being challenged and things don't change for me. So being a service tech has been really good in that, where I'm one place, then another place, then another place, then another place, and it's always different. It's always changing it up. You know, sometimes I'm doing service, sometimes I'm doing maintenance, sometimes it's this problem or that problem, and I got to figure it out. And then there's the change of the seasons. My job changes seasonally. So by the time I'm totally burnt out on ACs, it's furnace season. By the time I'm totally burnt out on furnaces, it's AC season. So the longevity is going to be easier to handle in this line of work. Those were kind of the things that I was thinking of when I chose HVAC. So
great. I think it is an area of there's been so much lack. I remember from my generation, trades were promoted to get into trade schools or to do a trade or to follow in your a parent or a grandparent's trade, you know, and then the push came, everybody's got to go to college. Well, like you said, you aren't cut out for college. A lot of people aren't. And, you know, so having a trade that's going to be long lasting, you're guaranteed a job until you're ready to retire.
As long as my health keeps up.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
all that kind of stuff there will.
Yeah. Right. I mean, everybody's going to need a furnace and, you know, an air conditioning unit for as long as you can handle it.
Right.
Then
you can't outsource it. Yeah. Robots probably aren't going to take this job anytime soon. You know.
No. Well, yeah. Well, good for you. Are you doing anything?
I haven't in quite
YouTube
some
now?
time. This is really the first thing I've done in over a year.
Okay.
I play around with ideas. I think about it, but I haven't really committed to anything yet. And I keep thinking about getting back in with Tang and all that kind of stuff and doing some shows. I just got to figure out what where do I fit in now?
Sure.
The show has changed. The format has changed quite a bit and all that. And
Yes.
I just got to kind of find my little slot there. I'm not like I'm not super into the really debatey stuff. I'm more into the epistemic questioning, the Socratic method, and things like that. So getting on with a panel of a few people, it just isn't conducive. It doesn't work unless if you can kind of do one-on-one. So we would have to, we'd have to work that in somehow. We'll see. We'll talk to Oz and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I
bet
think
he'd
so.
like to
Yeah.
keep you around. And just even if you
Well, I
just
gotta
pop
stay
in every
relevant,
once in a
right?
great while, Oh yeah, for sure. And I know the demand of doing your own show on a weekly basis or bi-weekly or whatever, and working a regular job and having a family it's a high demand, and it takes a lot of your time, and you've got to see what can you sacrifice. And
I kind of did. Yeah.
That's got to come first.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody learns, everybody
Right.
learns, and don't sacrifice your health. That's why I had to take off 6 months, because I was just too burnt out with that and other things in life. And so like I'm doing Vintage Explorer twice a month now instead of every week.
Yeah.
And that's more doable.
It's good to find that schedule that works for you, because that's part of what I ran into with TART too, because we were hitting it every night. I would work a 10-hour day, and then I'd come right into the MurderShed and clean up the bodies real quick, and then we would go live, and that was every single night for like a year. I entirely neglected my family for that year, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you got to find that balance for sure. I mean, if I was if I did something maybe once every other week or something like that, I think that would be a lot more manageable, for sure. I just got to find that groove.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. So now you know how to set your priorities
and
for this.
A part of that is it's the ADHD brain too. I get hyper focused on something, so it's always going to be part of who I am, whether it's activism or a certain video game I get sucked into, or like some project that I'm working on, like building a table or something like that. There's always going to be something that's going to completely just hijack all of my attention for a while. And it's just a part of who I am. So, like over this past winter, I played Ark and did the same thing, where that's all I did for months, like a few months, was just, I was on this game, and it held my attention like that. All those hyper-focused things, and so it's just, I don't know, it's a weird thing, I guess. It's one of those weird neurodivergent things. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you find your niche, and you found your niche, I mean, in your HVAC. And, so the other areas to branch out to when it's the right time, or as my former life would say, the right season. The right season in life to do something different. You'll know. Steve, I so appreciate you spending time with me today and getting to know the real person who's not all covered in blood. I'm so glad you cleaned up from your last job outside with whomever you chased down the alleyways chopped up.
There's no police
who knows whose
sirens,
dinner.
nothing like that. It's
No, you
well,
kept it
you know,
calm today. I appreciate
we're not
that.
supposed to work on Sundays, right? Well,
Well,
rules were meant to be broken.
you do need a day. Yes, you do. You in the time
That
of
is
work
true.
you're in,
Yeah.
you do need breaks.
Absolutely.
You know? Yes, and you days, and I don't know that sharpening an axe blade is
It can
considered
be.
work. It's soothing.
That's where the
probably for you.
the work and the hobby
Yeah, it's
can blend, right?
rhythmic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's soothing and rhythmic, and
That's right.
get that sharpness going. You can do it
Because that way
You can do
everything
that on
later
a
goes
Sunday afternoon.
smooth, soothing, and rhythmic as well.
Oh
The
yes,
right tool for the right
absolutely, and that's
job.
what it's all about.
That's right.
For MurderShed Steve, yes. Well, thank you so much. Give my
Mhm.
love to your lovely wife,
Yes.
Ashley. Right? I got the name right. Good. And I hope that I get to be part of the planning team for
Yeah.
Better 2023. So I hope you're planning to be
Yes.
there next year. For the
Yeah, that
whole
was
thing. That would be
that was
awesome.
totally on a whim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a quick day that you, in 24 hours, to drive that far and to spend a day and then turn around and leave. Ay. You still were thinking with that 25-year-old brain. I
You know
think.
what? It was a fun trip though. It turned out to be a good trip, and it was a good
Oh,
trip
good.
for me and Ashley. Just kind of a fun, quick getaway,
Uh-huh.
But gosh, I think I made that decision
Good.
on Tuesday. I was just like, I was watching the channel, the TANG channel, and I was like, everybody's gearing up to go to this thing.
Mhm.
I was like, screw it, I could go. I could just go.
Mhm.
I could just leave on Friday and make it work.
Yes.
And I'm really glad that Ashley came with, because that was a rough
I'm
drive.
so glad.
That would have been rough to do alone, drive
Mhm.
through like that. So I was glad that
Right.
she came with. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did too,
Yeah.
because I had a blast spending time with you guys, and really look forward to being able to do that again. And I want to thank you for being my first guest on my new Vintage Explorer for this season.
Yep. Thank you.
Take care.
I love this. I love the show with Steve, and the fact of the people that we're going to continue with the rest of this season. Next week is going to be our John Hudson, and I think he's a character. I just get this feeling that he's quite a character. So John's going to share some of his hobbies, and we're just going to learn more about John. I mean, why not? We've got Titan Uranus coming in. That's going to be interesting. Neil, the 604 Atheist. Ryan, let's see, what's her show? She's got so cultastic or something. I'm sorry, Ryan. I know you've got two different handles, and I don't remember either one of them right now. We also are going to have a therapist on with us, Jena Selby, from she has a divorcing religion, and I did the workshop last year. Is really, really good. We're going to take off for Thanksgiving, and then we'll have John Lovell, the skeptic, join us. Secular Rarity and Shane Billowitz. We are booked up through the early part of January 2023. If anybody's interested in being a guest and sharing your life and your hobbies and likes and dislikes, please contact us on vintageexplorerlife@gmail.com. And Ashley, have I forgotten anything? Hit the like button.
Hit the like, subscribe, and next week we will be on the TANG channel.
Yes.
This is only for this week.
Right. So we'll be back to normal. Thank you for searching around and finding us. And we'll get things back to normal. Anything else? It was a fun day.
It was.
Yeah, I think this is going to be great. It's going to be good for people to develop better friendships and relationships in our community. So, and that's my hope. How could I deny chatting with a babe like Kathy? Oh, sweetheart. Oh, John, you're too much.
John seems like a really cool dude.
Yeah, I think so. So, but John,
I'm looking forward to that.
He'll be on his best behavior too, I'm sure. Okay. Well, we will bid you adieu for today and hope you have a great week. And we will see you in a couple weeks. And as always, be kind and keep exploring. Bye-bye.
Bye.